Bucks, and they just made a huge move. Christian McCaffrey is a 49er. 49ers traded him for a couple of draft picks. I'm going to break it all down with my guy, So Real Suneil, right after this.
Let's go get him. Let's go get him today, man. Let's go. Hey, dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3, dominate.
Welcome back, everybody, to another video. I've got my guy, So Real Suneil. We're here because the 49ers just broke some huge news. Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport just announced that the 49ers are sending a second-round pick, a third-round pick, and a fourth-round pick in 2023, as well as a fifth-round pick in 2024 for Christian McCaffrey. 49ers just got their running back, and that offense just went from stagnant to up there now amongst the rest. But Suneil, how you doing, man?
Bro, you see me dancing. You see me excited. I told you this was going to happen. You told me, nah, he ain't going to get traded 2 days later. CMC, baby. And what's great about this, Rohan, I know we're going to break it down, but I just want you to just feel the energy that I'm feeling right now. What's great about this, not only did the 49ers upgrade the talent on their offense, not only did the 49ers give Kyle Shanahan the best talent as a running back he's ever had as a 49er head coach. Not only did Kyle Shanahan get a 26-year-old impact running back with still years in his prime, they stole this player directly out of the grass of the Rams. And guess what team he's probably going to debut against?
The Los Angeles Rams in week 8. That is exactly how it's going to go by. You know the funny part? The 49ers got the same treatment last year when Matthew Stafford was taken right by them. Matthew Stafford even thought he was going to 49ers. Instead, he played for the 49ers. He's the one who beat them when it mattered last year, and he's the one who got the Rams to the Super Bowl. The 49ers now have the ability to do the exact same treatment to their division rival, the Los Angeles Rams, by trading for Christian McCaffrey, who will likely be inactive this weekend, but make his debut against the Rams. And, I mean, that's the beauty of football.
Poetic justice, my man. Poetic justice. And you know what? Like, I knew this trade had to happen because the 49ers offense, especially with the running back, it was so stagnant, Rohan, and I know you thought that there was no way that the team had the draft capital to do it, but
I didn't think that. I just thought that he would not be
the
moved.
Panthers. I meant by the Panthers wouldn't the draft capital for the Panthers to want to move it. But what I kind of felt in my heart and what I mentioned to you a couple of days ago was the Panthers are trying to trade him a year early before a year late. And what I mean by that is he's gonna end up becoming not a malignant player because that's not his character, but he's going to become unhappy because he doesn't want to be part of a rebuild. He wants to be able to play out his prime contending on a team that's going to be able to give him a chance to compete and play into, you know, the winter months. And Carolina is not going to be that anytime soon. So it made sense for them to trade. I'm glad that the 49ers had the gumption to trade the picks, trade that second round pick, because at the end of the day, they are going to still find so much value with their extra third rounds, their fourth rounds, their fifth rounds, all those picks that they have where they usually get most of their talent anyways. They usually struggle getting this high level talent out of the beginning of the draft with their first, second picks, third round picks. So I love it because now we are guaranteed a player that we know could play, that's going to fit perfect into this offense. And I bet you more than Kyle Shanahan, Anthony Lynn is out there doing a little. because he finally got his. He's got his LaDainian Tomlinson too. You know what I mean? Even though he was
He's
there
got
with LT, but I'm
prolific
just saying-
running backs now there.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
before we get into how it changes the offense, because that's the biggest part of why the 49ers made this move, let's quickly look at why this move isn't as bad as many people think draft capital wise. Okay.
Please.
The 49ers traded a second round pick in 2023, a third round pick in 2023, and a fourth round pick in 2023. That's 3 mid round picks. The 49ers obviously draft very well in the middle of the draft. So you might think, damn, especially considering where do they get at 61 this year? Drake Jackson, a potential rookie of the year candidate, alongside some of those edge rushers, you know? So it does hurt the 49ers are trading significant draft capital in 2023. However, the 49ers are expected to have 3 third round picks this year. Not 1, not 2, but 3 third round picks this year, because they're going to get the second of 2 third round picks for the Robert Saleh hiring from the New York Jets, and then they're going to get the first of the 2 third round picks from the Mike McDaniel hiring in Miami. Both were minority coaches. They get third round compensatory picks as a result. They got one last year as well, and that was one of the picks they sent in the move for Trey Lance in 2021. So regardless of the amount of the amount of picks that the 49ers are moving, they still have 1 first round pick, 2 third round picks, a fifth, a sixth, and then a fifth, and then 2 seventh round picks. So they still have a ton of capital in this draft. If I count again, 1, 2 third round picks, that's 3, a fifth, that's 4.
What was the first pick that you thought they had?
Oh wait.
They don't have their first round pick.
They don't got a first, so they're going to actually start drafting.
Yeah, they don't pick till the third. Yeah.
You're right. You're right. So you've got 2 third round picks, a 5th round pick, and 2 7th round picks. That in itself is 5 picks. Then when you factor in the compensatory formula, the 49ers are expected to get an additional 5th round pick this year and an additional 7th round pick. That is 7 draft picks in itself that the 49ers are going to get in 2023. And so while they won't have a first or a second, they've proven that they can draft well without a first or a second round pick. And then you move to 2024, the 49ers gave up a 5th rounder in 2024. Well, who cares? With all due respect, who cares? Why? Because the 49ers are going to get an extra 3rd round pick in 2024 for Mike McDaniel, and likely another pick if DeMeco Ryans becomes a head coach. So you're getting 2 additional 3rd round picks. You're not worrying about losing a 5th round pick. So financially, draft capital wise, the 49ers are still amplified enough with their draft capital to where losing the amount that they did doesn't hurt them as much. Whereas to the Rams, it would have hurt them a lot more significantly given their loss of draft capital.
Yeah, and honestly, when you even look at this team, Rohan, the amount of holes that are there are not that much. You know what I mean? So like even rookies making this team, like this was the first year where there was some rookies that were drafted that didn't even make the squad, right? They didn't even make the 53-man roster because this team is so deep. So the draft capital at this point in year 6, this would be year 7 of Shanahan and Lynch, isn't as valuable as it was in the first years. And look, the only position that I'm really looking at where the 49ers really need to find a solution at is center, right? And if they do end up finding that center in like the 2nd round or whatever, I could see them pairing up those 2 thirds and maybe like a lower round pick to move up to a 2nd round to grab that guy, because at this point they don't need to. At this point, they're drafting players that aren't even going to make the squad, and so I think that's where things are extremely different from previous years where we haven't seen the 49ers be so willing to trade away top draft picks, right? So it's a little bit different strategy at this point, especially at a position of ultimate need.
And overall, like when you talk about draft picks, right, the 49ers have been able to do enough with their draft capital as of late. This class itself, Drake Jackson's already contributing. I know Ty Davis-Price isn't, but Womack was contributing. Spencer Burford's a starter. You have a pretty solid draft class already thus far and pieces for the future. Remember, the 49ers are also probably going to get a third-round selection for Jimmy Garoppolo in the offseason, or that'll get negated if they sign a big-name free agent and they don't lose any draft capital in that way. So Jimmy Garoppolo himself, in a way, it's a blessing and a curse, right? Obviously, you wanted to see Trey Lance, but him playing is now going to qualify him likely for a third-round compensatory pick in 2024. The 49ers keep getting these draft picks in a way, and that's going to continue to boost their draft capital, making this trade irrelevant in terms of the draft capital given up. And so it's a good move. And one last topic before we hit, obviously, how he's going to really impact this offense, especially with the outside zone, something I was talking about earlier this week, the financials.
Please.
How the hell did the 49ers trade for Christian McCaffrey is what questions were earlier this offseason. Well, the 49ers are going to pay Christian McCaffrey $700,000 this year. $700,000 to play for them. That's it. Carolina Panthers cover the rest of the cost because it was a guaranteed, it was part of the restructure that they have. They're taking on a $26 million dead cap hit for the next 2 years. Instead, the 49ers are going to pay Christian McCaffrey $700,000. And then on top of that, they pay him essentially $36 million over the next 3 years, and only $1 million of that is guaranteed. There's likely
Rohan,
going
can
to
you
be
break
some
that
move.
down? Sorry, can
it.
you break that down as far as if the contract is as it is, right? Because we probably know that more than likely the 49ers are going to do some kind of restructuring kind of deal
to get them
lower that money. But let's just say they keep it as is. What do the 49ers have to pay, and how much of that cap will be utilized by keeping Christian McCaffrey over the next 3 years?
Yeah, so the 49ers will have to pay $12 million in 2023, $12 million in 2024, and then $12.2 million in 2025. And all of that right now is non-guaranteed except for $1 million guaranteed for injury in 2023. Even if it's non-guaranteed, many people thought it would be the $16 million that is the top of the top for the running back market that Christian McCaffrey got. But that now comes at a condensed price at $12 million. And with the way Kyle Shanahan's able to utilize his running backs, that's a pretty premium, a pretty good cost for a premium player entering his prime. He's only 26 years old, Suneil. That's crazy.
Right. And I think the other negative that people are going to be mentioning about this is the health, right? Is the health issue. So Christian McCaffrey's been in the league. I think this is his 7th season. His first 3 seasons, he played all 16 games. His second 3 seasons was when he struggled to stay healthy. And then this season, he's been able to play in every single game. He'll probably miss this week because he's, got to pass a physical and all of the logistics in him actually being active to play. But for the health issues, there's a big reason why I think he was injury prone, and it was his usage. He was one of the highest used players for when he was in the last 3 years. And when you're taking that much punishment, especially at a running back position, not only running the ball, but also catching the ball, which is a dual threat, which we are definitely going to be talking about. That's why I think he had all of the injuries. So for Christian McCaffrey coming to the 49ers, he might be at best maybe the 3rd option, possibly even the 4th option.
And remember, with the 49ers, it varies week to week too.
Right. But what I'm saying is he isn't going to necessarily need to carry this offense. He's going to finally be a part of an offense versus the offense, which I think could help basically elongate his career and keep him healthy and fresh. Because like you mentioned, Rohan, and I'm sure we're going to transition into this very soon, I think this is the piece that Shanahan needs to be able to go back to that 3-headed monster. And I think that's going to be what ends up happening now with Christian McCaffrey there.
Yeah. And because of you just talked to that's a great transition to how does this change the offense? Just give a little insight into what you think this offense is going to kind of be with Christian McCaffrey kind of at the helm now at running back.
Well, all of a sudden, you have to pick your poison on the defense, right? Because now all of a sudden you have a formidable rushing attack. And Christian McCaffrey has always been used to 8-man in the box because he's been the only star on the offense. Like nobody's worried about what nobody is worried about what his quarterbacks have been doing over the past 3-4 years. And that's even including Cam Newton, because he got Cam Newton kind of on his decline, right? As far as the last few years. So all of a sudden the defenses have to pick their poison. So are they going to defend the run, or which automatically opens up the passing lanes?
Oh, wow.
Jimmy?
Oh, wait. Christian McCaffrey is actually expected to play Sunday in a red zone package, and then he'll ramp up from there. He has already spoken to Coach Kyle Shanahan, according to Ian Rappaport, and he travels to San Francisco tomorrow. So that's some new news.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's going to play against Kansas City. All of a sudden, Kansas City has to decide what they're going to do. But he's probably going to play in like where he doesn't have to know the offense. It's just like, bro, just take the ball and run straight, right? So, Trent Williams is coming back this game too. So, he's going to be running up behind the best left tackle in the game as well. But to go back to how I think this automatically now, the running game doesn't necessarily have to be rolling for the offense to now get those passing lanes open, because you're going to see when Christian McCaffrey's there in the backfield, they're going to have to pick whether or not they choose to plug those holes and play 8-mans in the box to stop the run, which automatically gives Jimmy those passing lanes. Debo's going to have more space. Ayuk's going to have more space. Kittle's going to have more space. So it's going to open up basically what Kyle Shanahan could do back in his playbook.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And I mean, earlier this week, I wrote a piece and we talked about how my belief was that the run game was honestly at one of the worst stages it's been in the last 5 years, or in the last 4 years. In 2019, the 49ers were the 7th most efficient team running the football, with a trio of running backs in Matt Breida, Raheem Mostert, and Tevin Coleman. What was the difference? I mean, not the difference, but what was the similarity? And the reason why the 49ers are so effective? All those guys, Jack Hammer, my guy, said it earlier today, and something that I said on my article, all those guys had the ability to not only hit the outside, hit that edge, but also run in between the tackles and be effective in both ways. Currently, the 49ers don't have that because Elijah Mitchell is injured. Jeff Wilson Jr. is not a threat outside of the tackles. He doesn't have the requisite speed for it, and the 49ers have tried and they've struggled at it. That's why the run game right now has been one-dimensional. It's been predictable because there's only the threat of inside zone, hence why teams are stacking the box against Jeff Wilson Jr. at a 26% rate this year, which was the third most in football. And now you've got Christian McCaffrey, who fits the mold of the 2019 running backs in that he could actually run outside zone and run in between the tackles, because he's a strong physical running back who's got the requisite speed necessary to do so in hitting that outside zone. This is a Kyle Shanahan prototypical running back, and now in his current role where he's not going to be utilized as heavily, which required, like you said, which forced him to get injured sometimes in Carolina, this is a win-win situation for both sides and a way to also create opportunities for Jimmy Garoppolo out of the backfield with Christian McCaffrey at running back.
And, this also buys time for Elijah Mitchell. They don't have to rush him back. But when he comes back now, obviously it takes away
a
lot of the carries from him, so he could probably stay fresher. And it moves Jeff Wilson Jr. back into a role where I think he can excel at, which is, just having his opportunities 4 to 6 carries per game, because we've seen that he's able to hit the hole and get some chunk yards and all that kind of stuff, but he's not able to sustain that success over 10, 12, 15 carries. So I think it just makes the running back room, obviously, a rising tides lifts all boats. Like CMC becoming your number one now makes everybody else better as well, because it takes away pressure off of those guys.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, the big part about Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell, what did I say about 2019 right now? Matt Breida and Raheem Mostert had the ability to do both, hit outside zone and inside the tackles. And so I see Swan Song here talking about how defenses are going to play the 49ers, I honestly do think when Mitchell comes back, the defenses have to play the 49ers differently. Why? They can't sell out against the inside zone because that big playability on the outside's there. And if they don't sell out against the inside zone and try and defend the edges more confidently against the outside zone, guess what's going to happen? That inside zone then becomes more it becomes more functionable. You get 4 or 5 yards every time, and you're able to move the ball both ways. And with the way that Kyle Shanahan schemed his offense, you're going to get those chunk plays. We've seen it with a running back who isn't capable necessarily of running the outside zone that efficiently in Jeff Wilson Jr. He's had rushes of 37 yards, 41 yards, and 32 yards this season on different drives. And that's really accounted for a majority of the 49ers rushing offense, those big chunk plays. Now you have the ability to be efficient without chunk plays, but also have the ability to have those chunk plays in the running game, reestablishing your running game's efficiency to the levels that you could have had in 2019. It's a great move by the 49ers for that remark.
And Jimmy just got an even bigger playmaker as his safety valve, right? Right now, that safety valve, we've seen, Juszczyk be that guy out of the backfield that's gotten plays, but CMC has way more playmaking capability than Juszczyk. And, he has really good hands. He's able to play all 3 downs. This is like, now what do? Right? You eventually, there's not enough defenders on the field to be able to defend Debo, Kittle, Ayuk, and now CMC. Like, if Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't have his greatest year for the next whatever many games that he plays as a 49er, it's not because he didn't have enough talent, because I don't know another quarterback that has the type of talent around him that the 49ers just gave and gifted Jimmy. And what's great is, obviously we're talking about this year, and I do think it makes an impact and makes the 49ers already more, gives them a higher chance to make the playoffs and be a Super Bowl contender this year. Can you imagine when Trey comes back and it's Trey, CMC, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, Mitchell? What are you going to do with that? Like, what are you going to do with that type of rushing attack with the ability to throw the ball down the field? Oh, man, like,
I swear to God, if Kyle Shanahan comes in and plays Ray McCloud when those 5 are on the field and Ray McCloud drops a pass, man, Twitter is going to be crazy. Like, in a way, it's the addition of Christian McCaffrey gives you no excuse not to play your best players.
Right. Right. And I mean, like I said, it's just giving, it's where we needed the upgrade at, Rohan. We spoke about this, the title of our stream 2 days ago was, should we trade for Christian McCaffrey? And what to me, this tells me is Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch realized that this narrative of just being able to survive with undrafted free agents, lower drafted, running backs, it's not the way that you're going to be able to win. You have to have a supreme talent, a first, second round pick, a guy that's performing at that level to be able to compete consistently in this league. And I think that they finally got that guy, and oh man, the sky's the limit now.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, the one thing that you talked about Kyle Juszczyk and now the Christian McCaffrey difference, here's what the biggest thing is. The 49ers have never used Kyle Juszczyk as a running back. He doesn't have that threat. And so when he's out of the backfield, they know it's a passing situation because Kyle Juszczyk isn't a running back. If Christian McCaffrey's out of the backfield and it's 3rd and 5, teams do not know if the 49ers are going to run the football or if they're going to throw the football. And so, especially this season with Jimmy Garoppolo at the helm and without that zone read option, having Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield, especially in shotgun, is a way to disguise what you're going to run, be it a run or a pass, because of his dual threat ability that few running backs in the NFL have.
Absolutely. I mean, I imagine Kyle Shanahan is in with his little notebook right now, just drawing up plays, trying to figure out how to implement these things. And like I said, I see Peter Lay saying that Christian McCaffrey likely is to play this Sunday. We already mentioned that. They already stated he probably is going to play in limited packages, probably goal line packages, short yard packages, where there isn't much intricacies as far as how to utilize him. But next week against the Rams, which, by the way, Rohan, I will be at that game wearing
really?
this jersey.
Oh, okay.
I'll be wearing this jersey, by the way, and to see CMC fully engraved into the game. Oh my God, that game just made my day, bro. That move just made my day.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good move, and the 49ers now are pretty much back into contention after a couple of middling offensive performances. But now this decrease, I disagree with any notion that Kyle Shanahan's on the hot seat, anything like that. But this now decreases the amount of excuses that he can make, because Kyle Shanahan now has everybody at his arsenal. The biggest weakness this year with the 49ers has been that running game. I clearly said it this past Tuesday when we had our stream. That's been the biggest issue. The running game has been putrid. They currently rank 26th in efficiency overall in the running game. Their offensive DVOA numbers are 7th in passing and 26th in rushing. They need to be better in the run game, and that one excuse that the 49ers had as to why their offense had been one-dimensional is now gone. It's time to step up, and the 49ers need to start creating more offensive performances where they don't just put 14 points on the board, because that's inexcusable with the team of this caliber.
Yeah, and I mean, you already just organically are going to be better on offense, and what does that do for this team overall? Like, this defense has been desperate for some help on the offensive side of the ball, and now they're going to get that, and it's just going to make the team so much better. Obviously, I don't envision that this offense is going to be like lights out in the next couple of games. You know, we're probably going to see after the bye week, so maybe 4 weeks from today, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's when we're going to really see it all be put together, because by that time, hopefully everybody's healthy on both sides of the ball, right?
Yeah.
Mooney Ward will be back. Hopefully Jason Verrett will be up and running. You'll have the combination of Jimmy Ward and Hufanga in the backfield. Ark Armstead will be back. Bosa will be, fully healthy. And hopefully McGlinchey and Trent Williams will be on the offensive line at the same time, which we haven't seen in quite some time. Can you imagine that team with an offense that could actually be top 10 in the league and a defense that could easily be top 3 in the league? It's insane what the possibilities are right now, Rohan.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Getting to some of these comments real quick. Peter asked, do you think McCaffrey will be contributing on kickoff punt returns? He's known for those returns in Stanford. I don't necessarily think so, at least not in the current future, because Ray McLeod, the 49ers, did pay him in the offseason specifically for that role. And while he's been up and down with his efficiency, he hasn't necessarily been the best in that case. He has shown glimpses that he can be that guy, and obviously he had really good numbers when he was with Pittsburgh. So I don't think McCaffrey is going to do that here. He also hasn't played special teams all year. I don't think he's played special teams since his rookie year in terms of kickoff returns and things like that. So I don't think that's in his arsenal anymore, and I think the 49ers are going to want to also risk the injury, like trying to mitigate the amount of injuries that could potentially happen. That's a way to do it.
Yeah, I think this move actually makes Ray solely a special teams player now. I don't think he'll get too many offensive snaps anymore unless there's like a significant injury. I most likely would see Ray only seeing him on the field during special team opportunities, because they don't really need him on offense anymore.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not that they don't need him, but you are right. They have other players in there that can fill that role, and that's definitely it. M. Kib asks, so if Jimmy doesn't win the Super Bowl this year, can us and these Jimmy stands lay Jimmy to ref and move on collectively? I honestly think regardless of what happens, if Garoppolo even wins the Super Bowl in 2023, I don't know if he signs back with the 49ers. When you look at the contract language in his contract, he made it clear that the 49ers can't do any move to impede him from hitting free agency this next year. And the reason is, I don't even think Garoppolo wanted to be here if we're being honest, I don't think Garoppolo wanted to be here this year. While many people said the 49ers wanted to move on from Garoppolo with the move of Trey Lance, imagine also the amount of burden that it takes on Jimmy Garoppolo. The reason that he's a 49er right now is because there was legitimately no other opportunity present, because the surgery took away all the potential trade options in March, and then after that, all the quarterback situations figured out, and it was too complicated of a contract before the restructure. Until then, teams aren't going to trade for Garoppolo with just 1 week left if they are trying to contend in 2022. I think he goes elsewhere. So regardless, I think everybody is going to move on collectively, given the 49ers investment in Trey Lance.
And Jimmy Garoppolo fetches you a 3rd-round draft pick. So that's actually probably more valuable to the 49ers than Jimmy Garoppolo at this point.
Yeah, exactly. I think so as well. And so I think the 49ers are in a good spot either way. But No Border Sports, he says that CMC is another person that can energize the whole team from one play like a Kittle, Debo, or Bosa. He's right. CMC is explosive, and I talked about the run game and how this opens up the possibility of hitting that outside zone. Because not only does McCaffrey have speed and he has the ability with power, he also has vision. And that's something that 49er running backs have legitimately been lacking since Raheem Mostert. Elijah Mitchell does have solid vision. He's not the best with it. Unfortunately, the one knack on Deebo Samuel is his vision in the backfield. He doesn't have the best vision. CMC now brings you back to those 2019 levels where that run game was elite. The only thing is, can execution occur on all fronts, be it the offensive line, the running backs, and blocking overall? That's the main thing.
Yeah, and I mean, you're not even throwing in Ayuk there. So, like, you have 4 guys right now that you could get the ball at any place on the field, and they could break it for a touchdown at any point with CMC, Debo, Kittle, and Ayuk all there right now. There's nothing but playmakers on this offense. There's nothing but play. Now every single position has a playmaker, which is insane. I could only imagine what's going to happen. And at this point, Kyle Shanahan has no excuse to not have that genius, play. If he does it, if this offense still struggles, Rohan, I think you're looking at Kyle Shanahan and being like, bruh, Jed definitely now could look at Shanahan and be like, bruh, what else could I have given you at this point?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, it's an all-in move for 2022, but not only that, it's a great move for the future because CMC is under contract until 2026, right? He's got 3 more years after this, 3, 4, 5, free agent in 2026 when the 49ers likely will not bring him back given his age 29 season. And one thing that we haven't mentioned that I saw in the chat earlier, that contract will get restructured. I would honestly expect that salary to decrease a bit and the guaranteed money to increase because McCaffrey isn't going to play on a deal that is going to obviously only encounter with $1 million in guaranteed money. The 49ers and McCaffrey will likely reach a restructured contract over the 3 years. And even if the number might be like 35 million, everybody knows how the contracts work. It's not really what matters. It matters on the guaranteed money at signing and things like that. Here, No Border Sports says obviously the offensive line still needs help. And 49ers Throwback says, do you think the 49ers draft a center and a right tackle? Talking about the offensive line, do you think that is the main concern for the 49ers? And if so, do you think that's even a concern at all?
I mean, I think that it's overblown as far as this offensive line, the woes of it, but definitely that still is the weakest link, I guess, quote unquote. So I would imagine that they do focus in the offseason on upgrading that offensive line. I think they have their left tackle. I think they have their left guard. So the left side of the offensive line, I think, is great. I think they're probably going to stick with Burford at right guard. So center and right tackle are the 2 positions that they do need an answer for. It's just, they probably could get McGlinchey cheap because of another injury-riddled season. So maybe they use that as the interim, but I do expect them to figure out that center position this offseason, whether that be through the draft or bringing in a veteran.
Yeah, no, I think so. And I don't think honestly, I don't know if it's going to be either of those moves. I think first it's going to be Nick Sakel. I think he's going to get the option. Jason Poe and Nick Sakel, two really forgotten players on the 49ers roster, because they're Zakel, obviously, and Jason Poe, I believe, both really haven't seen any playing time right this year. But you've got Nick Sakel. I think he is currently being groomed to be the center, similar to how Aaron Banks was groomed to be the future left guard last year behind the scenes. I think Zakel is going to be a pretty good fit, given how he's 6'6", 315, got good size, good at one of the best athletes of his class, and also going to project into a bigger frame, right? So I think that's going to be a big thing. As of right tackle, I think the 49ers could draft a right tackle of their future. The only thing is, I don't know if it's this year. I don't know if it's next year. Obviously, Mike McGlinchey entering the last year of his deal. We'll see what happens there at right tackle. If I'm giving a bold prediction what I believe could happen, I honestly think Spencer Burford is the right tackle of the future. I think Spencer Burford's going to move to right tackle at the end of the year, and I think that the 49ers could play a guy, maybe Nick Sakel, maybe Jason Poe, or maybe a new guy at right guard, or even a Daniel Brunskill, somebody replaceable at right guard. I think Spencer Burford's your right tackle of the future.
Yeah, maybe
so
even Jalen Moore.
That's
right?
kind of where it is.
Some guard too.
Oh, hell
Jalen
no.
Moore
Okay. At guard, yeah.
Right guard.
Not at right tackle.
Yeah. No. At right guard, maybe they could play him because he showed some promise in his rookie season at the guard position. But yeah, I mean, I think that the situation at offensive line is a little bit better than what people say, but definitely, the center position, I think, is where they're going to focus. If it is Zakel, great. If they're able to get somebody else that they feel like is better, I think that's like the position that I think is the most of need out of any other position on the field.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. All right, man. This was a good show. A good little recap of the instant analysis for the Christian McCaffrey trade. Thank you, Suneil, obviously, for hopping on. It's a fun show. And thank you guys all in the chat with your comments, with your insight, and allowing us to do what we love to do. We are going to see you guys soon. Obviously, this trade is going to spark a whole lot of debate on Twitter. McCaffrey seems like he could play on Sunday. I will not say that it's 100%. I don't think that is going to be true. But if so, it'll be in a limited fashion. And like Suneil said, his first real action is going to be against the Los Angeles Rams. What a night, like No Border Sports says here. What a night. What a move by the 49ers. I'm currently considering this a win, given the amount of draft capital that we have later, McCaffrey's contract, and what this does for the offense in 2022 and beyond. Great show, Suneil. We'll catch you guys next time.